My feeling about the treatments that are given, the key to Verita, in my opinion, is the ability to bring synergism with all of the treatments and the way they are brought together. There's a daily plan that's given, a weekly plan I should say, and then every day that plan is modified in accordance with the blood pressure, the feelings, the physical feelings, and all the attributes that make a good plan, and that it's changed daily. So I believe the systematic approach of Verita Life is that they modify the treatments in accordance with the way the body adjusts and so forth, and it makes it a perfect systematic approach rather than just throwing a bunch of protocols at you without knowing how they interact with each other. And that's what I think makes Dr. Gunez's approach so great, that it's the knowledge that's behind each protocol, not the and the working of them all together. In my research, if I can show you this, I ran across a book here. It's called, you could find this on Amazon. Is that good the way I have it? You can find it on Amazon. It's called German Cancer Breakthrough, A Guide to Top Clinics by Andrew Schulberg. In that book, Andrew Schulberg interviews all the top clinics in Germany, and of course he becomes very familiar with the top doctors who head these clinics. In that book there's a quote involving Dr. Gunez. At that time he was doing research and he wasn't really in charge of a clinic. And there's a tremendous quote there. I can't quote it to you right now, but basically Andrew Schulberg felt he was the greatest go-to guy that he knew as far as expertise in cancer treatment, and plus he had a dimension of studying herbal approach to adding herbs to cancer treatment. So he brought with him not only the expertise of the Germans, but also the additional research he did on herbal medicine. So I contacted Dr. Gunez through his website, and he sent me, I sent him all my information for diagnosis, and he returned to me his recommendation for protocols. Well, through my research, I saw many things that were very advanced in even the alternative. My journey to discover Verita Life, I can only say it's like trying to discover a needle in a haystack. In America, of course, a conventional alternative cancer treatment is basically outlawed. So here I am, an American, facing where do I go? Well, I began in my research to, I realized that Mexico had a lot of alternative clinics. And I really was going to go to Mexico, but then I said, you know, I need to continue to research. Well, of course, when I received Dr. Gunez's response to my request from his website, that is, his recommended protocols, it was very specific. I already knew a lot about the particular protocols. I knew they were advanced. I really didn't need a consultation. I already knew that this guy was way ahead of his time. He was the go-to guy. And so my wife and I both looked at his email. We felt the compassion that was in there. We just couldn't resist following this man, and so I didn't need a consultation. So I was totally convinced Dr. Gunez was way ahead of his time, really. And but at that time I didn't realize he was in charge of the Verita Life. And as he sent back his response to me, he told me about his clinic, not specifically naming it. He was just recommending that he was available at Verita Life. Well, as soon as I discovered through his website and through him Verita Life existed, my wife and I decided this is the place to come, because it was Dr. Gunez that I was really, I wanted that expert treatment. And so this is how I ended up here. One of the big problems, and I'm speaking as an American citizen here, there's such a tremendous amount of misinformation. People do not understand or even are aware of integrative and complementary methods. So what a person is dealing with when he's diagnosed with cancer is a family who are all in shock and all in fear, just like the patient. And of course, everybody wants to go down a safe road. So what happens is everybody says, of course, you have to go, you'll have to get chemo, and so here you are faced with families that are against what you're doing, and even to the extent where they think you might have lost your mind. So in my case, I ran across a video by Dr. Gunez on the YouTube website under Verita Life. I'll show you the video here so you could look at it yourself. And it's called An Introductory Complementary Oncology. Now, this was a webinar, so there's a little bit of imperfection in the sound as it stands right now. I understand it's going to be edited to be improved, but at this present time, you can go on YouTube under Verita Life and look at this. This is probably one of the greatest tools to understand complementary versus conventional. The way that Dr. Gunez explains what cancer is very simply and how it grows. This is a very simple, basic video. You don't have to be a doctor. And then he explains the impact of conventional versus what they do here at Verita Life. And I have to tell you, when I sent this video to all my family members, everyone to a person was so positive about me coming here because they finally understood the difference between complementary and conventional and the weaknesses of the conventional method. And now, Dr. Gunez does not slam anybody. He does it with information and with statistics, and it is so well done. I mean, I have an engineering background, I know presentations. I have never seen a better presentation than that particular one. So that particular video is so important for yourself and for anybody, any members, any friends, to really understand complementary medicine and what they do here at Verita Life to save your life. It's not a death sentence, it's just a condition that can be treated. And I don't know what else I can say. It's a great place here. In my 8th week right now, I just went through IPT, which is insulin potentiated therapy, which includes the chemo treatment that they do here, which is low dose. And normally that knocks a person down, and I haven't felt better than I feel right now since I came here. For example, my blood is producing blood cells, the white blood cells and so forth, all the blood counts by itself and in the normal range. And so far that's been the case. So therefore it's indicative that the lymphoma, it does not have at this time the upper hand in my body, as far as, which is where the problem is the blood. And also Dr. Art, as we call him, has a thing about trying to measure the tumors he can feel. And he's already, and of course having an oncologist background, he is familiar with the location and so forth, and he's told me that some of the tumors that he can feel have diminished. So those are 2 good signs right there. But ultimately, when I leave here within a month, I need to go back and get a PET scan, and that will really determine the activity of the cancer in my life. As far as the difference between low-dose chemo and regular chemo, The way it's applied conventionally is people are just given 100% of these drugs, and basically conventional medicine doesn't worry too much about the patient's condition to receive that chemo. And so the chemo is both destroying the person, his blood and its organs. At the same time, it's effectively killing the cancer. And what happens is when the cancer comes back, the body is not able to recover. And so the cancer, that's why people die of chemo after remission. But with low dose, you're getting roughly 10% of the dose of chemo. But what they do here is they monitor the blood and they carefully watch how your blood, like for example, the hemoglobin, in my case, level went down. So they sent me for a transfusion to get my blood level back up quickly so I could receive another IPT. So it's all about monitoring and keeping the body and the immune system in proper position to handle even the low dose of chemo. Can you imagine coming to a clinic like this, having your body adjusted, having your immune system made perfect, and then of course the destruction of the cancer and minimizing it. I'm back on top of things to where my body can now take over. I'm very confident that when I leave here and I go back home, in good shape, good health, and I'm going to continue with my proper lifestyle that I know, and proper diet, I'm gonna beat this thing. When I went to the oncologist, all his blood tests showed that I had low-grade lymphoma, and that I may have had it for a while. And of course, as I reflected on this, and of course with the knowledge I have now, I had edema in my legs for probably 15 years. Now, I've been here 8 weeks for treatment, and my edema is virtually all gone, which is indicative of the fact that my tumors have been reduced. I have tumors right in my groin area that may have interfered with the flow of lymph and so forth. And the other thing, of course, was the low platelets. I've been bleeding freely or having struggles with clotting for years. So it shows that I probably have had lymphoma for years. Well, of course, I was already aware of having read some books, and Bill Henderson has, in his book, I can't remember the exact title, but in his book he discusses specifically a protocol for diet and for supplementation, and so I began to use that particular diet. What's interesting is that most of the protocols for diet are vegan for cancer, so they recommend no meat. Well, I felt in myself I needed protein. I combined the juicing and a lot of vegetables, no carbohydrates, but I continued to eat meat. And I actually began to become feeling stronger. Every person is unique, and every diet is going to be perhaps a little different than what everybody wants to say this is the key diet. Well, since I have a weakness with protein, I already knew I needed protein, so that's the keto side. Oh, by the way, there's an expert consultant here, a nutritionist, who I discussed this with, and she backed me up that each person is unique. And I think at Verita Life, they will help you to discover the uniqueness that you need as far as diet. So you cannot believe one answer fits everybody. You need expertise that they have here, and they're open to what your feelings are, what makes you feel better. So you're not going to be inundated with ideas that are just grabbed out of the air and people believe. You're going to be worked with. And so, as I say, because I have a problem with low protein, I am going back and I'm going to be eating even more meat. The key is to understand that if you go to a doctor and you go into his office and you want to have a consultation, it's going to cost you a small fortune. You have to realize that Verita Life is very interested in the patient. There are people in the medical arena, especially in complementary and integrative medicine, that really care about the patient. And Verita Life, I cannot say enough about Verita Life as a whole. It's a team. They all are very positive, upbeat. I come in the morning and they all stand up, they all come and greet us like an entourage. And it's that way all day long. Every nurse, every helper has a smile. They're very careful. The nursing staff I can't say enough about, because they're so intricate in everything they do. They follow every protocol of health, no shortcuts. I'm for detail, and I'm observant, and I am so impressed with the staff here. Everybody works as a team. I have to say, as a plug here, I came here, I had all my back teeth pulled because I had infections in my mouth, and I wanted to come here without any infections or anything that would compromise my treatment. So I came here with basically no back teeth to eat. And I made it known to the staff here. And what they did is they took me to the hospital. They went with me. They were there to interpret. I have new teeth today at very low cost, because Thailand is known for good medical treatment and at low cost. And they never charged me for the time. They're here for you. These people really care about you personally, your personal issues. I had a hearing problem. I thought it was a tumor may have been blocking my hearing. Dr. Hosami looked in my ear, and he just happened to have a background with his father, hearing, nose and throat. So he helped me clean out my ear, and never charged me. I mean, how can you beat this kind of service? Whatever you need they're here for you. Now, as far as the reason to contact Verita Life, I, of course, had already all the confidence I needed in Dr. Gunez, and I never really had to have a consultation. But there's a lot of people that are unsure of themselves, and you need to get a confidence in the people that are going to be treating you for saving your life. I mentioned the website on YouTube, Verita Life, and the Introductory to Complementary Medicine, which will help you to understand what Verita Life will do for you before you may even want to contact them. And what you'll find is when you do contact them, they'll ask you to send all your diagnostic information that you've had, and they'll probably help you to know what specific treatments or diagnostics you need. And then once you send that information, they'll explain to you, they'll review it, and they'll give you the protocols and what they're going to do for you, and what you can expect to receive as treatment, and the chance you have of survival, instead of just throwing chemicals at you and you're not knowing in fear what's going to happen to your life. It's going to be very clear to you. And you've got to realize when Dr. Gunez interviews you, there's a compassionate man who really believes in treating you as a patient and not just trying to kill a disease. I just want to put a plug in. You have to know me as a person. I love people, and I always want to give my best to people and help them whatever way I can. And I'm appealing to people to realize I'm not being paid for this. I want your best. I want to know that you are beating the system, the medical industry system that really isn't really interested in your life, but a system here which really cares about success in treating you and making you a better person, healing you. And since I found this, I want everybody else to find what I have found. And they'll take the fear away from you. They'll educate you. They'll make you understand what cancer really is all about. And you'll find out it's just a condition that can be treated like any other condition.